I'm Scott Cannon from the Gas Drilling Awareness Coalition. This video is about the residents living by a glycol dehydration station 15 miles west of Scranton, Pennsylvania. This station was built to remove water from the gas lines coming from the fracking operations in the northern counties. Folks here didn't know much about the gas up north, but some signed leases for a pipeline on their property, so the gas could flow through this station into the Transco pipeline to be distributed to the rest of the country. The millions of dollars the gas industry spends on ads did what it was supposed to do, and the lessers fell for it. Of course, they weren't told about the negative effects.
This is what I hear at 2 o'clock in the morning.
They kind of said, if I remember the one zoning meeting, that it was going to be put through no matter what.
But this hearing may be a bit of a futile. Act 13, which was passed by the legislature, supersedes most zoning with respect to oil and gas. And in this case, it makes what Chief has applied for a principal permitted use in an agricultural district.
The first red flag went up at the zoning hearing, when a representative from the company building the station told a concerned mother with asthmatic kids that the only emissions coming out of the proposed plant would be methane.
I had asked about a variety of different things, methane, benzene, the toluene or formaldehyde. None of those will be there, or?
Well, of course, methane will be there because. Well,
yeah, that.
Yes.
But
the gas doesn't contain benzene.
Okay, no benzene. Toluene.
Shouldn't have any in it.
And no. Formaldehyde.
No formaldehyde either.
A file review of the permit showed something else. Wilma Subra, a nationally renowned chemist and consultant, explains.
So this is a general permit, which is a minor permit, which now doesn't require a public notice or a public comment period. So you see the same type of chemicals we've been talking about, the volatile organics, and this is pounds per hour and tons per year, 1.48 tons. Nitrous oxide, which is a precursor to ozone, you see over 11 tons a year. Carbon monoxide, formaldehyde, a known human cancer-causing agent, total hazardous air pollutants, and particulate matter. And we saw lots of particulate matter today.
We were told that it would have two holding tanks above ground, one building, and a light. Everything else would be underground and invisible, and that's exactly not what's there.
There was to be no motor. It was a small facility, and there was going to be no motor at all. But they absolutely said there would be no motor. Like, there's a lot of buildings, and I don't think anybody around here really realized how big it was going to be.
My understanding is one of these was supposed to go up in West Wyoming. It was denied because it's zoned A1 agricultural, which is what we are zoned here. So why was it permitted here?
At the end of September 2012, just less than a week after the station went online, an accident occurred.
It was probably about 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and we heard this really loud noise, and we looked out, and there was the stacks down there from the dehydration plant.
I opened the door, and there I hit me right smack right in my face. Here it was that their dehydrating plant up there, just spewing out gas all over the place.
And we looked out and the horses were gone. They blew through that gate, the fence. They had the corner of the fence was all broke down. The gate was bent into like a U shape. It was just a really loud, sounded like fighter jets pretty much, just hovering over the house.
Well, we had one horse out here in the back, and when that blew off down there, the horse got scared and ran through this gate. And it fell down and broke the PVC fencing, and busted that post and broke that post. The sheep that are across the road, they were just bouncing off the wire. I felt so bad for them, but you can't do anything until, you know, the noise stops.
They told us that after the first time, they told us it would never go off again.
A month later, a louder, longer accident occurred.
Well, I was in bed, sleeping. It was before 3 o'clock in the morning. and all of a sudden I heard this roaring. I thought my house was ready to blow up.
And this was taken inside my house the morning of November 24th. I woke up at 2:54 a.m. and it went till 3:35 a.m.
It sounded like 10 747 jets ready to take off. I mean, the noise was deafening.
The second time, it was like a jet engine running for almost a half an hour or so. It was extremely loud. You couldn't hear yourself think. And I walked out the front door there. It was like 3 in the morning. I walked down the road, just a little, not a few hundred yards, and I could see the gas shooting about 50 or 100 feet in the air. The Conkle Fire Department, they were all on the road, but they all stayed in the truck. I guess they weren't allowed to go down there. But it was like being on an aircraft carrier. That's what it sounded like.
The noise on it was unbearable. It just hurt my ears. It was so high pitched, and it was downright scary. I'm a Vietnam vet. I've been in the war zone. I was in the Marine Corps, and that there was downright scary.
The first time, like I said, the horses, we chased them about a quarter mile down the road before we finally got them, and they were all spooky. They were spooky for probably 2 weeks after that. The second time, they ran over and they hovered over into the corner. They knocked the fence down, but they must have got tangled in it and come back in. But they all hovered over in the corner next to one another.
There was a visible odor, and of course you could see the liquid shooting up in the air. My neighbor has said his whole home was engulfed by the smell.
My house was filled with, I don't know what it was, but my eyes was burning and my nose was running. I was going to open up the doors and the windows to get whatever was out, but I figured whatever was outside, it was more outside than it was inside, so I kept everything closed. There was a big cloud that came down after they shut it down over the plant, like a big fog. It was all over the plant.
No one has informed us any danger that we're in or anything like that, and it was awful. It was an awful, awful experience. And then when it shut off, then try to go to bed, try to go back to sleep was forget it.
Other problems are starting to surface.
Well, if you put your arm against this door like this, you'll feel it like a pulsation or a vibration that we never had before. Ever since the station's been up, but I was alarmed when it first happened. I thought I was going nuts, but here it's actually the door vibrating or pulsating.
And that's the station right out the window?
Yes, it is.
Besides being an eyesore and ruining a beautiful piece of property, there's a constant rumble that never goes away. It's like having an old furnace in an old house, just rumble, 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 24 hours a day. It never stops. And when they have the gas leaks, the noise is unbelievable. You don't know if you should run and hide or hunker down and wait for the big explosion.
Because of the constant vibration that is emitted by this station, the pictures on my wall vibrate, they shift. So every day I'm straightening them out. The mirror in my bathroom rattles. Sometimes when it's completely closed, sometimes if it's open just a little bit, there's a constant rattling.
Well, eventually, our plaster and drywall, that's all going to start to crack, and even in our home, the windows in our medicine cabinet rattle.
The neighbor up the road says her porch vibrates continuously. I mean, who wants to listen to that 24/7?
My house inside has a vibration to it, and plus I hear the roar of the whatever is roaring up there in my home.
In the past probably 2 or 3 weeks, my garage door does rattle from the vibration of the plant.
What about your septic and your water, your well and all that stuff? Is that affected by that too, by the vibration?
I'm worried about the safety to my family. What are we breathing in continuously that we weren't told? Certainly if they would lie to us about what was going to be placed above ground, they would lie to us about the chemicals that are being used in the processing of this station.
I'm an 8-year cancer survivor, and the emissions that come out of that are carcinogens, and I don't want to get cancer again of any kind.
I have a problem with headaches. They've been twice as worse since that station has been put here. I've had to double up on my medication.
I was diagnosed 3 years ago from the Veterans Administration Hospital. I have a lung disease, and I don't know if this is going to affect my lungs any more than what it is.
So what is the problem to me? What is the constant vibration? What is the smell? What's being released into the air that's affecting my health?
And then there's property values.
Well, it's probably depreciated by now. I mean, who'd want to buy a property here, you know, and with that time bomb there, you know?
I have grandchildren. I was going to will it to them when I passed on, but I don't know if they're even going to want it. And then try to sell it. I don't know what we can get for it.
I'm concerned about my property value. I wouldn't buy a place that was down the street from that, and I doubt that I'll be able to sell my home should I want to sell it. I'm paying full taxes on my property, whose now I'm sure has gone down in value. I don't trust the safety of the thing. I don't think it should be in an area where people live in residence.
Like I said, my wife and I, we put a lot of money and a lot of time in this place. And what we're going to get out of it, you know, I don't know if we go to sell it, you know.
Who's going to come here and look at my home and see that conglomeration right up the road and say, oh yeah, I want to buy that house?
In December 2012, a meeting was arranged between state and local officials and PVR partners, the facility's owners, to discuss the lack of a safety plan. PVR partners didn't show up, but the community leaders got a schooling on why you shouldn't build an industrial park in a neighborhood.
You don't know what that thing's going to do, what it's capable of doing or nothing. I mean, we saw the fire trucks up there and everything, and then I said to my husband, I said, how can he even give any direction to his men? You can't hear anything at all. And even someone mentioned to me that they were going to get together and have like a siren. Well, that's ludicrous because nobody's going to hear the siren. It's just, you can't hear anything over that.
I don't like the way the emergency response is set up. Nobody seemed to know what to do the other night when we had that big blow up here. We were told they couldn't go near it, so what good is the fire company? They come and they stand down. They were all the way down the street here by us. So what's going to happen if the thing ignites? Who's going to protect my property? Who's going to protect the lives of my family? Nobody.
If there were something that Senator Baker or Representative Bobeck can do, what would that be?
Well, I would prefer the thing would be removed from here, but I think that the gas company should just buy us out. If that thing is here to stay, then buy me out.
I like the plant to shut it down. I mean, I don't think it should be here as close as all these people that we live right on top of this thing. This is a powder keg.
Oh boy, if they could shut it down, that would be super. But I think that I don't even know if we really want to live here.
Geez, lower our property taxes should be lowered, you know. I mean, some kind of, you know, restitution, I guess, you know. But buy us out, I don't know. You know?
I'd like to see the plant shut down now. They lied to us. It wasn't supposed to be this loud. I mean, we didn't have a clue what was going on. And I got a 17-month-old baby that's up around these horses. If my wife or my grandson's around them and that goes off, that's going to be a problem. And I had talked to them about it, but they were only worried about the gas they lost. That's all they were worried about.
Happening right now, an emergency response is going on in Monroe Township, Wyoming County. There are some reports of an unspecified release from a natural gas dehydration station. Our Joe Holden joins us now live over the phone with the very latest information. Joe, what can you tell us?
Hey, Janice, well, it's become very clear. Whatever it is not being shared with the media. An Eyewitness News producer just called Wyoming County 911 within the last minute. They transferred that producer to Luzerne County 911. That 911 center previously told us that there had been a release from what's known as the Chapin Natural Gas Dehydration Station, which is just off Route 309 in Monroe Township, Wyoming County. That's known as the Beaumont area. It's just over the county line between Luzerne and Wyoming. And Luzerne County 911 previously told us that it was an undetermined, unknown, unspecified release from that station.
This morning we filed a 60-count complaint on behalf of 20 families
that live in northern Luzerne County and southern Wyoming County, and whose lives have been greatly affected by a triethylene glycol dehydration plant. We've asked as damages from the gas company that they consider how they have destroyed the value of these people's homes, their quiet enjoyment of the properties, and the health concerns that they may have. Some have had numerous bloody noses since this has happened, skin rashes, headaches, ringing in their ears. So all of those things we're going to ask the court to look at. And again, this is not about being anti-drilling, it's being responsible as to how we drill, how we explore, and how we process the gas once it is drilled and explored.
I didn't move into the country to be looking at an industrial revolution right up the road from me. This is not supposed to be an industrial place. I could not move into an industrial zone as a residential person, so why should an industrial place be able to move into where people live? I mean, this is my home.